Hello, Isabel. Hi, Sab.
Hi, good.
Hi, how are you? Kumusta? Good? Okay.
Hey, your line is cutting in and out.
Oh, I see. Let me see. Let me check
Copy
first.
Gibbs.
Yeah,
What happened?
my connection probably.
Is it my connection? Sorry.
Yeah. Hi, guys. Good evening. Can you guys hear me okay? Is my line
Wait.
cutting out or something?
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you, Sab.
I can hear you well.
Oh, okay. Great. Okay. So, hi, everyone. Good evening. We have here, we have Chao. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing your name right. Is it Chao or Chao?
Yes, correct. Chào.
Chao. Hi, Chao. How are you?
Yeah, so good. Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, I just got off from the class of Maida Sensei, so glad to see you here. We also have Athena. Hi, Athena. Prima. Good evening. Glad you could join.
Hello guys, good evening.
Awesome. Awesome. And we have Ray. Hi, Ray. Good evening.
Hi, good evening, Kevin. How are you?
I'm good. Ikaw, kumusta?
Maayos naman, kakakain lang.
I see. I like your ang tawag dito yung pinost mong about the mais, the fresh corn. Yeah.
Ah, yes. Oo.
Naubos
Thank
na ba
you.
yung mais?
Meron pa, meron pa. Kung malapit ka lang.
Okay. Nice, nice. And
Oo.
Sandy. Hi, Sandy. How are you? Good evening. Maybe Sandy cannot speak. Right?
Hello.
Oh,
Sorry.
it's okay. It's all right. Glad you could join. Okay. So we'll just wait for maybe one more minute and see if more people can join. Okay. So I think we can start now and then the rest can just join. So good evening, everyone. This is Kevin. I'm from member supported Yulan Buddhism Center of the Philippines. And every Fridays, we talk about stories from this book. Actually, it's the first story of this book since we're done with something you forgot along the way. So now we're going to cover this book instead. It's Unshakable Spirit, and we have copies in the office. If you're interested, just message me and we'll see if we can send you copies. So I guess we can start. I need two volunteers to read the story. Um, can someone start reading the story, the first part, the one in orange? Anyone want to volunteer?
May I?
Oh, hi Fong. Sure, go ahead.
When disaster strike in quick succession, a single swordsman fending off dozens of attackers at once. Such scenes, a staple of Japanese television shows and storytelling, are pure fiction. Shibashi Saki, once the most famous swordsman in all Japan, used to say, "If I were surrounded by three sword fighters with some understanding of swordsmanship, I could never win." Asked what he would do if he faced three or more attackers, he replied, "Make a run for it." He would run for dear life, and only when a certain distance had opened between him and his enemies would he turn and cross swords with whoever was first in line. When that one succumbed, he would take to his heels again before turning to dispatch the next. As he went on in this fashion, those bringing up the rear would eventually flee, he said.
Thank you, Fong. Does anyone want to continue reading the next part in yellow? You guys see it? The one in yellow? Okay, I think no one is available.
Okay, me.
Oh, sure. Thank you, Chow.
Hey, in life, disasters can and do strike in quick succession. Victims of natural calamities like earthquakes, typhoons, volcanic eruptions, and floods lose everything they have built up and are devastated. Illness, traffic accidents, forced separation, the loss of a loved one, anxiety over impending old age, worries over children, breakdowns in relationships. Such troubles drop us of a sense of purpose and leave us sinking in an ocean of sadness. Why am I so sickly? Why does disaster stalk me? Why can't I rise in the world? One comes to feel like a minute of for calamity. The earth arises to end it on and escape. The story is told a foolish man who became thirsty and went in search of water. He came to a river of abundant fresh water, but made no move to drink a drop. One asked why not. He replied, I'll give anything to drink my fill, but there's just too much water here. I could never drink it all.
Thank you, Chow. Would you mind reading the rest to end it?
Hi. I don't know what to do. His listeners burst into laughter. Even if we cannot drink the river dry, we can drink enough to select others. When difficulties and disasters strike all at once, we need to deal with each one separately, doing what we can with full sincerity, reflecting that everything that happens to us is the result of seeds we ourselves have planted. Then we are likely to make an unexpected breakthrough. Hi.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Chow and Fong, for reading. So this is the story for tonight. And again, this is based on this book, Unshakable Spirit. Okay, so let's begin. So I gathered here some screenshots of really famous scenes. Now, everyone might know these scenes, but the one thing we can see here is that the main character is facing multiple enemies at once, right? Just like in the story, a samurai or a warrior cannot possibly face multiple enemies at once. It's just in fiction, right? So you could just imagine how hard it is to face many opponents at once. So here's a scene from The Matrix with Neo fighting a lot of enemies. This is another one from The Witcher. Geralt is facing lots of, faced all of these enemies, and this is from Star Wars. And you can say this is all fiction and all, but I just want to paint a picture here that it is really tough to face many opponents, many problems. So in life, it's similar. It's the same. If there are too many problems in life, just like what is described on the story, there might be illness, there can be problems with money, you know there may be problems with the family, there may be problems with divorce and many other stuff. So then we ask ourselves, how do we face these problems? Because sometimes they can really be overwhelming, right? Let's see you. Okay. We also have Thelma. Hi, Thelma. Good evening. Glad you could join. We have Larry. Hi, Larry.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah, I'm glad.
awesome. So in life, sometimes these problems just, come wave after wave after wave. Many problems come. And a lot of you guys, I think, can relate to this, you know? So there is an old tribal saying in Africa. So the saying is, how do you eat an elephant? Now, this may sound weird to you guys. Why would we eat an elephant, right? But what do you think is the answer to this? How would you eat a big elephant? You guys want to take a guess? Wild guess?
Maybe bit by bit.
Sorry, Fong, what was that?
We can eat an elephant bit by bit.
Oh, yeah, that's a
That's
great
what I
answer.
guess.
Yeah, the answer actually is you can answer one bite at a time. So yes, you're right. So bit by bit, because you can't basically eat it all. It's so big, right? So the answer is one bite at a time. So when we are facing many problems, sometimes we can get stuck and we feel immobilized. And um, many people can relate to this. They feel so sad. They feel like it's always problems, and they don't see the light anymore. So most of these people, they tend to get depressed. They feel like there's no more chance. Like I can no longer survive this. It's too much suffering. You know, and a lot of our friends have experienced this. And if you know, it's part of life. It's actually taught by Buddha. So when difficulties and disasters, and this is a an excerpt from the story. It says, when difficulties and disasters strike all at once, we need to deal with each one separately, doing what we can with full sincerity. So just like the old tribal saying from Africa, how do you eat an elephant? It's by one bite at a time. When we face our problems, we need to face them one at a time, because it can get overwhelming if we face them all at once, right? So let's pause here real quick. Does anyone want to share something like that? Something on that? Do you guys agree that we need to face them one by one, or have you tried otherwise? Have you tried facing your problems all at once? Has anyone tried that before? I'm just curious.
I think I can relate to this
Ah,
in a sense. Um, for for the past couple of days, I have been dealing with the anxiety of whether I should decide to take my first shot of the COVID vaccine. And at the same time, I was so confused with how to continue on with my treatment of my chronic disease, because I will be running out of my medicines in 2 days' time. But my clinic, outpatient clinic, have also been put into quarantine. So, and in that moment, I found myself surrounded by so many anxieties and difficulties. So I just realized that it was high time for me to raise my hand to get help. But that's how I can relate to your moral from this uh, presentation.
I see. Great insights, Fong. Yes, absolutely. So thank you for sharing. So basically, what it's trying to tell us, the story is trying to tell us first that we need to deal with each of these problems or challenges separately. And so the first part is actually by writing them down, by identifying what are the problems, right? So a good operating strategy is to prioritize your challenges by listing them and give them a number in order of importance. So try this will be up to you. This will be up to your prioritization. Which problem is the heaviest? Which one is more timely? So list them and order them from 1 to 10, or depending on the list, right? And then tackle the first one on the list and put your 100% focus on it. And like Fong said earlier, we need help, right? Sometimes we need help. So if you feel like you can't handle it on your own, it's okay to ask for help. Just make sure that you're asking for help on the right reliable resources or friends, right? So eat that elephant one bite at a time, and then don't be afraid to ask for help. Like what I said earlier and what Fong said earlier, don't be afraid to ask for help, but just don't go to the butcher shop for a loaf of bread, right? Because there's no bread there. So this means we need to get help from the right people, from the right folks. If we need help from professionals, you can seek help from them. From your doctor, from the experts. So let's pause here. Let's see who we have else. We also have hi Glenn. Good evening. Glad to see you here. And Lay. Good evening, Lay.
Good evening.
Hi.
Good evening.
We also have Cheryl. Hi, Cheryl. Good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Awesome. So don't be afraid to ask for help. If you can't, if you know for sure that you cannot handle the problem, then ask for help. You know. So let's move on. So next, the next part is so the first part is that we need to identify, just to give just for the ones who came a bit late. The first, we need to identify the problems first, because if we have too much problems, and if we um, face them all, we can get overwhelmed. So what the story is telling us is to focus on one problem at a time, list them and prioritize them, and don't number them. And then next, reflecting that everything that happens to us is the result of the seeds we ourselves have planted, then we are likely to make an unexpected breakthrough. So we also need to reflect. We need to understand that everything that happens to us is the result of the seeds or the actions that we ourselves have planted. So what does this mean? Um, for most of you guys here, you're already aware, or you already heard about the law of cause and effect. But for the first timers, the law of cause and effect is something that Sakyamuni Buddha taught, 2,600 years ago. This is something that he discovered when he attained enlightenment. So the law of cause and effect is the foundation of Buddhism. So the foundation is important. So think about a building. Without a proper foundation, the building will collapse. So you see a tree. The foundation of the tree are its roots and trunks. Without the roots and the trunks, the tree will collapse, or the tree will not exist. So in Buddhism, the law of cause and effect is the foundation. So without knowing this deeply, the foundation, one cannot understand Buddhism or move forward on the path. Okay, are we clear so far? Any questions have or feedback? Let's see if we have newcomers. Oh, we have Noriel. Hi, Noriel. Glad you could join.
Hello. Thank you.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
Okay, so the law of cause and effect is the foundation in Buddhism. And it's very important. If we really want to be happy in life, we need to understand and put into practice what we learned in the law of cause and effect. So the law here refers to something that will never change. So it does not change no matter where we are. So even if in the future, even if interplanetary life or technology will happen, even if we could live in Mars, in Venus, or any other planet, still the law is still gonna take effect. It does not change, regardless where we are and regardless of time. Okay. So what is the law of cause and effect? So this is the law of cause and effect. These three lines can be found in the sutras, and this represents universal truth. And like I said earlier, this applies throughout the entire universe. So these three lines say good deeds bring good results, bad deeds bring bad results, and your own deeds bring your own results. In simple terms, it says that we need to practice good actions so we get good outcomes. If someone practices bad actions, then they will get bad outcomes. And whatever we practice is whatever we receive, right? So what you sow, or you shall reap. The concept of own cause, own effect is very important and sometimes can be easily misunderstood. So there may be only 3 lines that you see here, but it's easily misunderstood by some people. So it's really important to know this deeply. And by the way, there will be upcoming lectures about the law of cause and effect in detail. So please stay tuned in our Facebook group. So it can be easily misunderstood, so we need to be reminded about this regularly. Sometimes though we are busy with our lives, and it's normal to forget about the law of cause and effect. That's why it's highly recommended to listen to Buddhism regularly and talk about it with our Buddhist friends. So all of our fate at this moment has been brought on by our own deeds. It is our own deeds, not those of others. Okay? So we need to focus on taking action, the good deeds, doing the good deeds in the present moment, right here, right now. If we focus and worry on the future, because imagine if you have lots of problems going on, like what's mentioned in the book. I mean, in the story, if say you have problems about money, if you have problems about illness, love life, your family, studies, these can be overwhelming. And sometimes we tend to be depressed in life. We get so overwhelmed. What am I gonna do? This is really um, depressing for some people. So we need to take action. It says here, the law of cause and effect teaches us to be in the present moment, because if we focus and worry on the future, we become anxious in the present and we keep on overthinking. So then if we overthink, the future now becomes bad because we stop taking action. So what we need to do is we need to take action so that our future instantly becomes brighter, as long as the seeds we plant are good. Okay. So Sakyamuni Buddha revealed the law of cause and effect to us so we can see that we determine our future by our own choices now in the present moment. And guys, this is something that's actually hard to do. Even if I tell you now, oh, you know what, you just need to take action. It can be tough, you know, especially for people who are really overwhelmed, who are really overthinking in life. It can be really hard. But if we just keep on getting reminded that this is what we need to do, we get inspired that we need to take action, and it doesn't matter how big or small the action is. An action is an action, and it's still gonna help us move forward to happiness. So it's important to plant good seeds and take actions in the present moment. So here are some quick points before we end our class tonight. First is we need to deal with each of one separately, the problems, remember in the story, um, the warrior, it has been facing many enemies, right? And so it can be overwhelming. So we need to identify those problems and deal with them one by one separately, and then focus on each one with the fullest effort we can, with full sincerity. And then we also learn that everything that happens to us is the result of the seeds, the actions that we ourselves have planted. Wait, let me pause here real quick. Let's see. Oh, we have Philip. Hi, Philip. Good evening.
Good evening.
Hi, glad you could join.
A
Okay,
little late.
it's all right. So, at this point, do you guys have any questions so far? We only have a few slides left. Or you want to say anything? None?
I wonder if the teachings of Buddhism does it have any lessons or on how we should prioritize to solve our problems?
That's a great question. That's a great question. Actually, um, I think it's let me move on the other side. I think the other slide will have the answer. But here is one of the 6 good deeds that Buddha taught is self-reflection. And there are 6 good deeds, the 6 paramitas. And I think in self-reflection, we can deeply contemplate on the deeds that we made in the past. And then that will somehow help us prioritize which ones we should focus on. But that's a really great question, Fong. I'm gonna try to check on other resources, but I think with deeper self-reflection on a grander scale, like when we are looking at which problems we need to focus on first, self-reflection might help as a starting point. Does that answer your question for now?
Yes, indeed. Thank you, Kevin.
All right, sure. So, the reason why I've brought up self-reflection here is this is actually the second step. Because first is we need to identify the problems, right? We need to list them down, and then number them. Which one is number one? Which one should we focus on first? Which one is next? Which one is third? And then the second step is self-reflection. So um how do we now face each problem? This is through self-reflection. And it is really important. It's a really good deed as taught by Buddha. And if you want to know more about self-reflection, because we don't have much time now, um, I will continue talking about self-reflection probably by next month, or the other teachers might have a separate class on it. And this is a really good topic to talk about because it will really guide us how we can um, face our problems through self-reflection. You know, and like I said earlier with Fong, it's by identifying the seeds that we've planted in the past, and from there we can start. Looking at what we can do in order to not repeat the mistake in the future and be happier. So that's kind of a background for self-reflection. But stay tuned for more updates on our classes, and there is so much in the Buddhist teachings that are practical and will be of great help with our daily lives, definitely. So I wish you could continue listening to more of our talks. So that's all for tonight, guys. Do you guys have any questions before we end our session? Any clarification? None so far? Fong, did I answer your question? Is that okay?
Yes, absolutely fine. Thank you, Kevin. I will put it into practice right now, even though it's so hard.
All right, awesome. So guys, this is Kevin again from Member Supported Pure Land Buddhism Center of the Philippines. Glad you could all join and have a great weekend. Take care.
Okay, bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks.
Bye. Keep safe,
Good
everyone.
day,
Bye bye.
everyone.
Thanks.